You're already living in all your fears, and you've just convinced yourself that you're not. Every time that you self-sabotage your progress, every time you finally have a breakthrough and then revert back to who you used to be, so you find yourself reminiscing about the man that you were when you felt unstoppable. Every time that you've allowed yourself to betray yourself in small moments. Fuck it. This won't fuck me up. This cookie won't fuck up my progress. This thing won't fuck it up. Knowing damn well that you're gonna hate yourself later for it. Knowing damn well that you're gonna shame yourself later for it and feel guilty for it. And you probably think to yourself like, man, like, why do I live in the same cycles over and over and over again? The truth is, you've been living in fear of who you are your entire life. And there's a sense of self-hate that you carry with you. And this didn't start with you. This didn't really start with you. It really started with the psychological imprint that social media has left on all of us. That, for you to, as a man, to have love from a woman, you need fucking money, cars, fame, status, abs. For you to have brotherhood, you need to be at a certain threshold and have certain amount of accolades. For you to love yourself and see yourself as a high value man, you need to, you know, be a business owner, be an entrepreneur, be this guy who's overly confident and, he never doubts himself. And all this just creates cycles of self hate. So that special thing, that special essence that you've always had even when you were a child, that self-belief that you were meant for more, you've always secretly hated it because the world has poisoned you to believe that you to being more is having more in this life, when that isn't the case. You've proven to yourself that you're competent, that you are ambitious, that you're very intelligent. You've proven to yourself that you can win in this life. But you secretly hate the weight of it all, the weight of the responsibility that comes with it. So every time you win and you prove it to yourself that you can win, you fuck it up. You're probably like, this is boring. It doesn't matter anyways. That is a cycle of self-sabotage right there. It's a sense of self-hatred of the work and what it requires of you to really overcome yourself. Discipline is not hard. Discipline is really like self-correction. You correct yourself when you're falling away from the direction that you set, or what they say, your North Star, from the man that you want to be. But yet, we find ourselves feeling like we're performing, putting on a mask and carrying this unnamed pressure and unnamed weight to become everything that we know we are. I touched on in the beginning of this video that social media has really programmed us to be that way. It is true. And when we live in these cycles of self-sabotage, reverting back to who we used to be, becoming timid and hesitant and shrinking up under pressure, these are not really, these are symptoms to a greater root of shame and guilt for being who we are. And every man carries this. Every man carries this. But see, when you're driven and you're ambitious, you actually act despite the fear. You actually are very courageous. I'm sure you haven't acknowledged it though, that you move despite fear, that you move despite fatigue. People may even tell you like, damn, you actually, do a lot. Damn, you actually are producing a lot. Damn, you're such a great man. You're such a great leader, and you may even inspire others, but you never really look for it within. You never recognize within. And there's this big epidemic of self-hate because of what the world has placed on us men, that you need to be more by having more. more money, more status, more validation from other people, more approval from men that really don't give a fuck about you, women that don't really give a fuck about you, women that are chasing approval from other men. Everybody's really just a big ass people pleaser. Do you know how exhausting that is? And let's not get it twisted. We all care about what we think, what each other thinks, to a certain extent. And if you don't, you're a fucking liar. Like, you know what I mean? But now, how much we let that affect us is different. It could seem as we don't have care, you know? But, let's be frank, let's be candid. And I realized this within myself, like the way that, watching the self improvement space, there was a lot of men really projecting their self hate about how unhappy they were with themselves and linking their identity, who they are, attaching their spirit in what they didn't have. It's self hate. I'm not saying that you shouldn't want more for yourself. I think you should want more for yourself, but you shouldn't allow these items, physique, income, business, to define who you are. Rather, they should be a really not a reminder, but a mark of who you are, right? A man who gets these things is a leader, is an initiator, is a creator, is a builder. On the other side, he's a hustler, he's a grinder. But I prefer builder, if you guys have heard me say on another video, because to build yourself up is to be a plus to yourself, is to be a positive to yourself. But to grind is to constantly destroy yourself, right? And growing up in this, very carnal world, I've always said, on this channel, that this is the time to be more spiritual than ever. And I invite you to really look within and really look at the gifts that the Most High has given you. Because something that I know that I struggle with is the ability to stay still. And it's not conscious. It's not like, I just want to always be working. I genuinely love everything I do. As the scripture says, blessed is the man that, the Most High is, blessed is the man that's with the Most High. I'm paraphrasing here, but, whatever he touch shall prosper. I really move in that spirit. I genuinely believe that everything I touch will prosper, and that in hopes of everything I touch prospers, that you will prosper too. Which is why I continually make videos on this channel. Which is why I continually make sure that I show up as the best that I can in every room that I walk into. Because I want to be a light to everyone around me. A man is supposed to be like the sun, our presence. We're supposed to bring warmth. We're supposed to bring life into a room. We're supposed to illuminate, especially because we are leaders. But, I invite you to reflect and really say within yourself and ask yourself, do you actually ever take the time to recognize that about you? Do you actually take the time to realize all the movement you create in this world? When you're busting your ass out there creating the physique and looking to inspire others, when you're busting your ass creating a business that is going to help and serve others, when you're busting your ass making sure that you're disciplined because you want to, be there for your family. I know I have a lot lately, and I don't allow it to turn into pride or arrogance and look at what I'm doing, but rather I look at it as you know, I look at it and say to myself, wow, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to the Lord that I'm able to be this man and create this motion, you know, and help others out in their life as He's helped me. Because once you have these gifts, too much is given, much is required. And it's such a blessing to realize that when you're holding back your gifts, you're being selfish and you're being prideful. Okay? It is selfish and prideful to hold back what the Lord has given you to steward. And it's something that I realized a long time ago. When I went through my own self-sabotage cycle, I got the life, I got to the point where I wanted to, and I hated myself because I didn't feel like I could carry it. So it was easier for my nervous system to dysregulate and just fold under the pressure, fold under the weight. And every time I would fold under the weight, I would just be like, man, I fold under pressure. And that wasn't true at all. That wasn't true at all. And I stopped seeing myself as a man that, folded under pressure, because it would really fuck with my head. It really, reinforce the self-hate. And I bring this to you today because we all carry this as men. You know how many bitter ass men are on this space talking about, oh, to get a woman, I need X, Y, and Z. Honestly, what I've come to realize in my life recently is a lot of these women, they're a lot more spiritual than we are, because they're a lot more intuitive. You know what I mean? Now, when a man allows himself to be more spiritual, his frequency is a lot higher than the woman, and he could see things before they even happen, which is why man was blessed to be able to see with his eyes. We see, they feel. And that makes us a lot more alert and in tune. But a lot of us have been spiritually diluted to see beyond the deep. We see what's in the physical, but we don't allow ourselves to see the intangibles. It's the same way that we could see a great NBA player, a great NFL player, and we say to ourselves, on paper, they have all the talent, but there's just something about them that's missing. That's the spiritual aspect of it. Don't focus so much on the earthly things, but on the heavenly things, the things that come from above. So that way you could transcend who you are. And I started this video with, you're already living in all your fears, and I bet you are. The times that you don't allow yourself to build the life that you want because you're afraid of the weight that you have to carry with that lifestyle. You're afraid of being seen to falling when you do get that lifestyle, because you don't doubt you could get it. I know you could get it. I know you could do it. But you know you could do it, and that's what fucking scares you. Is being seen on the mountaintop, being seen as the man, and being afraid that you won't be able to handle it. And then the other part of you that feels like you're too much for the world around you. You have high standards, but there may be people around you who cannot handle being around you. I know I've fucking dealt with that. And more often times than not, it's the people closest to you. So you shield yourself from opportunities of opening up with brotherhood, opening up with, to love, opening up with people, and, you don't allow people to get close to you. You call it discernment, I call it being armored up, and I've gone through the same thing. We don't want to be seen as weak. We don't want to be seen as vulnerable. A lot of these guys in this, male self-improvement space, they perform rah, 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 fucking, you gotta always be strong and never let a woman see you cry, never X, Y, Z. You know how suffocating it is to perform, to be something that you're not? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not here to say, like, we cannot all get better at certain things we don't like about ourselves. I'm not saying that at all. I think we should actively look to improve ourselves. But there's certain kinks that we come with that, that we have to actively work on, right? Your unwillingness to recognize who you are is exactly what's keeping you stuck where you're at in the first place, which is going to lead you to hating yourself, which is going to lead you to settling in your life, which is going to lead you to constantly shrink up under pressure, play small in this life. I've touched on a video the other day. Men don't die once, they die 3 times. That third time is realizing that you had so much more to you. And it wasn't even about having more things, but living the life that you truly wanted to live. And being on your deathbed and knowing that you didn't live up life to the fullest.